Hi, and welcome to Focal Point, the second hour of this Thursday edition of Focal Point on AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. Program is Focal Point Network, American Family Radio Talk Network, AFR Talk. Let's start the second hour by going right to the phones. Let's go to Ike in Texas. Ike, welcome to Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
Hello, Brian. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man.
Good. What's up?
Actually, I'm so much concerned in making some comments about the homosexuals and the lesbians and same-sex marriage.
Uh-huh.
I really do listen to you, like every day. And can I tell you how much I enjoy when you talk about homosexuals, the Muslims, the abortion stuff, you know. To be very precise, I'm from Nigeria. I became a citizen of the U.S. about 2 years ago, and I don't know if you're aware that in most of the African countries today, you cannot display any homosexual activities in the public. It's against the law. It's passed by most of the countries. In Nigeria in particular, you will get like 14 years imprisonment just for displaying homosexual activities in the public.
Yeah. Nigeria's done that, and they just and that's fairly new. I mean, Ike, that was just passed into law a little bit earlier this year, just a month or two ago, by the Nigerian Parliament or whatever they call it there.
Yeah. Speaking of the law, last week they had the first trial. Same-sex trial in the court. Well, they didn't say you can be homosexual, you can be lesbian, you can be whatever you want. They're telling you you cannot display such activities in the public. It infiltrates evil and other stuff. Well, the thing is, yeah, there's a lot of corruption in that country going on. But, the government, our president is a Christian, a good Christian. And he is one of those that stands against homosexual marriage, same-sex marriage, period. I mean, he is really, really a hardcore advocate of that. He is against it. Other countries, I don't know if you're aware, but last year or 2 years ago, the president of Namibia, Uganda, he came openly and made open confession, pray to Christ, asked his fellow countrymen to join him and follow the rules, the ways of Christ.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, and we didn't talk about it much here, but Ike is exactly right. The president of Uganda is a Christian. He publicly dedicated the nation of Uganda to Jesus Christ. A pretty striking thing.
Right. So the most striking thing, we back in Africa trying to, imitate from the Americans, the Western world, okay? And here is the problem. I know most of the times you talk about the president. Here is the problem we have with the president, especially, the Africans. I can tell you most of us did not vote for him in 2012. Most of us. Simply because of his positions, the moment he took that position in favor of lesbian and gay marriage, every last one of us in our community backed out. None of us voted for that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, we all are waiting for, the next candidate, whether it's Republican or Democrat. We are really a nation of morality, regardless of what's going on back there. But when it comes to morality, we are really, really a nation of morality. We are now waiting for the next candidate who's going to step up and really, really be against this homosexual and gay couples. Well, the Prime Minister of England, after this incident, this court incident took place last week in Nigeria, the Prime Minister of England, sent out his threat, like we are depriving people of their human rights.
Yeah.
And such threat also came out from the White House. And I'm trying to, if you can voice this out, we are not depriving people of their human rights. We are trying to let people know that this is a behavior, a lifestyle that somebody chooses, and if that's what you choose, you are not coming to the public with it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's good. I appreciate that. I appreciate the call, Ike, and that's helpful information. And obviously what Ike is saying, look, for us, those that have our roots in Africa, we've got strong moral standards when it comes to the embrace of homosexual behavior. And even though Barack Obama has his roots in Africa, Kenya, we're not going to vote for him because of where he stands on these moral issues. And I want to address just for a second this issue of rights, because people say, look, if you don't endorse policies that promote homosexual conduct, you are denying people their human and civil rights. This is absolutely flatly not true for one reason. Nobody has a civil right to engage in sexually perverse behavior. That right does not exist. There's no moral right to do it. There is no ethical right to do it. That is not a right, not one of the unalienable rights granted to us by God. The unalienable rights are rights that God has given to us that cannot be taken from us because they are a gift from the Creator to us. And the Creator has never given to humanity the right to engage in sexually aberrant, sexually perverse, sexually deviant behavior. It is not a right. It cannot be a right. I mean, you may be able to pass some law that says it's a right, but it's not a right. It's a sham. It's a fake. It's a pseudo right, because a right is something that belongs to you by the fact of nature. It's something that belongs to you because you have been created in the image of God. It belongs to you for that reason. So if it's not a right that you possess because it's granted to you by God, then it's not a right. It can't possibly be a right. You can call it a right if you want, but it's a sham. It's a pseudo right. Now, we believe that homosexuals should have the same rights that everybody else does. They have the right to engage in sexually responsible behavior, which is the right to be married to a member of the opposite sex and to enjoy sexual intimacy with them, with society's approval, with society's endorsement. Everybody's got that right. Nobody has a right to engage in sexual intimacy outside the married relationship between a man and a woman. Nobody's got a right to engage in sexual behavior outside that union. Now, society may say they have it, try to award them a right, try to create some legal right to engage in that behavior, but it is not a right. A right is something that you possess by nature itself, because of nature itself. And the laws of nature and nature's God clearly prohibit the normalization of homosexual behavior. Now, when it comes to actual rights, the right to freedom of speech, the right to freedom of association, the right to freedom of religion, the right to keep and bear arms, the right to freedom of the press, the right to petition the government for the redress of grievances, the right to have a trial by jury, the right to be exempt from cruel and unusual punishment, the right to face your accusers in open court. Those are rights. And we believe that homosexuals have those rights as much as everybody else does. If you've got a law against homosexual behavior, they get apprehended. They've got the right to face their accusers in open court and have the benefit of counsel. That's the rights they have. Focal Point AFR Talk.